The thing about this particular case, and I think the parallel that it really harkens to the most to me is what happened with Lawrence Phillips at Nebraska in 1995, where he assaulted his girlfriend and then wound up being suspended and brought back for the game to win the national championship. The reason I see a parallel there is the victim in that case was also an athlete at Nebraska, and they basically discarded her in order to protect Lawrence Phillips. That is in part what seems to have happened here at LSU if these allegations are true, where one of these women was on the tennis team and brought the allegations to her coach, and that's why we feel pretty confident that the people in LSU football knew what it was that was going on, at least that there was an allegation. But they just, for whatever reason, did not believe it, or at least they say that they did not believe it. And I just can't imagine how disturbing it has to be if you are a student and you bring this directly to the athletic department, not simply because the person you're accusing is there, but because you expect some level of safety and protection there. And then they just don't do anything about it. Now we fast forward a couple years and all the things stack up with Derrius Guice, and it looks like clearly this is a dude with problems who has inflicted his problems upon other people. But if the LSU athletic department had reason to look into this and then just chose not to, they've got to answer for that. And it becomes incumbent upon us in our job to make sure that they do, in fact, answer for it.
Yeah, what I don't understand is why this would not get investigated at the time. Like, it doesn't make sense. It was 2016. Like, everyone was fully aware of the issue of sexual assault on campus, not just amongst athletes, the widespread concerns that people have about sexual assault against women on college campuses. I think there was a New York Times article in 2015 that said 1 in 4 women claim that they have been sexually assaulted in their 4 years at college. So I don't understand how you can get away with 2 coaches knowing, an administrator and a nurse. And at no point does this come to the attention of the authorities, or if they bring it to the attention of law enforcement, they decide not to investigate. Like, I'm not sure who dropped the ball, but there should be consequences. You can think back to the issue with our women's gymnastics team. You can't just turn and look away in these situations. I think that there is a responsibility. If you're going to take a job like a coach, you're going to take a job like an administrator or a healthcare provider, at some point, someone has to report this and ensure that these things get at least investigated. How do you get out of this situation where we are now in 2020 and they said that this has not been investigated? The only people that looked into it was USA Today. That's where the problem lies.
Maybe the saddest part about this, though, Dominique, is when you say, why didn't these people report it to the authorities? You can't really do that if the victim in the case does not want to tell the authorities. And the saddest thing out of all of this is that something like this can happen and a woman not feel comfortable telling the authorities, because look around you, man. Why in the world would they feel comfortable telling the authorities? That could work out worse for her than it would be to just not say anything at all. And that gets us to our macro level problem. Who in the world is supposed to look into these things if you can't trust law enforcement and you can't trust the most powerful institution at the university?
Well, more to the point, though, when the police officers, this is what happened when I was covering this with the University of Miami, when the police officers, the campus police, is sort of embedded with the football program. And the football program is a giant business. And you're talking about protecting a giant business because it's a source of civic pride everywhere. It's exactly what makes a victim not want to come forth. It's exactly what makes a victim feel small, because there seems to be a conspiracy of allies in power that make it impossible to make this accusation and have it be heard.